Buongiorno, signore e signori. Welcome to Gotthold Ephraim Lessing's Emilia Galotti. Today's cast are Emilia Galotti. Although this charming young lady is the play's title figure, she only appears in 6 of 43 scenes, for reasons of security, lest someone should kidnap her. After all, she wants to get married today. Her father, Odoardo Galotti, found it suicidal anyway that his wife Claudia had moved into the city with their daughter. You know what happens to pretty young girls in cities when daddy's not looking? His wife, however, points out that if they had stayed in the country, they would have hardly met the groom, Count Appiani, who is really nice and wants to marry Emilia, although the Galottis are not very aristocratic and not super rich. His future father-in-law thinks Appiani is a great chap because he usually lives in the country and avoids the court. The court is none other but the ruling prince Ettore Gonzaga of Guastalla, a man with an astonishing amount of spare time and several problems, one of them being Countess Orsina, who up to now has been the prince's lover and is not inclined to give up this position, although he has lost his interest in her. Another problem, albeit he himself thinks he is a problem solver, is Marinelli, the prince's chamberlain, a fawning and scheming courtier who systematically smashes all available china. Then there's a painter Conti, who used to work as a pirate by the looks of him, and other servants and stuff. Lessing writes his bourgeois tragedy, Bürgerliches Trauerspiel, in 1772 in Wolfenbüttel, where he's working as a librarian for the Duke of Braunschweig, thus ridding himself of a book that he must have carried around for years while moving house, The Legend of Virginia, as passed on by the Roman historian Livius. It deals roughly with the following. Two guys in ancient Rome are standing in front of the Colosseum when a young woman goes by. "Oi, Claudius, shut up, will you? I'm engaged to be married." And they whisper, the two Claudiuses, and the other Claudius goes, "Virginia isn't really an honorable daughter from a respectable house. She was switched as a child and is really a slave of mine." But her fiancé comes rushing in and goes, "Watch your slanderous tongue, and come on, Virginia, I'll take you home." Unfortunately, the first Claudius, who had whistled after her, is an influential politician in Rome and files a lawsuit and alleges, "No, the other Claudius is right, she's really a slave." But her father enters and says, "What?" Nothing really. I'm going to question my daughter first." So he goes home and calls Virginia. "Oh, hi, Dad." And stab, he kills his daughter. And the others go, "Are you mad?" And he replies, "Better dead than dishonored. You know what happens to pretty young girls in cities when daddy's not looking." And in principle, what Lessing does is to adapt his story to the social reality of his time in Germany. In order to avoid offending his employer, the Duke, or any of his colleagues, however, he changes the setting to a city in northern Italy. The first performance, by the way, was on occasion of a birthday of the Duke's wife, whatever that may signify. First act, the prince's lodgings. "I can't sleep anymore, work is boring. Marinelli!" "Sigh, Emilia." "Palim palim." "Ah, Conti, what is it?" "I'm bringing you the portrait of Countess Orsina you commissioned." "Fantastic. Put it somewhere in the back." "What is it?" "It's a little late. Not my fault, she never came to sit for the portrait, but I've got something else on offer for you." "Oh, really? What is it?" "Well, I've painted a portrait of the most beautiful woman in the city and brought you a copy. Maybe you are interested in this. It's Emilia Galotti? I don't believe this. Give it here. Take my credit card and have as much money as you like. Put it on the table." So the painter puts it on the table and gets out very quickly. "Oh, Emilia Galotti," and Marinelli enters. "Your Highness." "Yo, Marinelli, what's up?" "Well, Countess Orsina is back in the city." "Ah, my ex." "Indeed? She doesn't seem to know this." "Yeah, but still, what else?" "Count Appiani is getting married today." "That old party pooper who's the victim." "Oh, she's not very important, but young and beautiful, name's Emilia Galotti? What the dickens? I'm going to kill myself." "What, you and Emilia?" "Yes." And he is about to throw himself out of the window when Marinelli goes, "Hang on a minute, Prince." "What?" "You want me to stop the marriage?" "Yeah, but..." "Like what, yes or no?" "Yes, okay, what am I to do?" "Nothing really. You go to your residence in the country and I'll take over the rest." And already walking out, the headless prince is about to sign a death penalty, which severely irritates the servant in charge of it, but that's an aristocrat on testosterone for you. "Nah, I've changed my mind. I'll see if she's gone to church this morning." Second act, the city house of the Galotti. Claudia would sit in the corner with some needlework if her skirt permitted it, when Odoardo comes in. "Boo! Ah! Why are you sneaking up on me like this?" "Ah, my little village patrol before the wedding. Everything all right?" "Yeah, all cool." "Where's Emmy?" "In church." "On her own?" And while Mummy is being told off by Dad for this, a servant of the Galottis tells a dubious maid that Emmy, Mummy, and the bridegroom are soon going to the wedding by coach. Then Mum comes back again, a little dishevelled, when her daughter Emilia comes rushing in. Wah! Wah! What is it? Well, the prince! What? Dead? What? Talk to me in church. I was so terrified I've run home at once. You have done well, daughter. Oh, these aristocrats. Yeah, it was. I've got to tell it to my fiancé at once. Are you mad? You can't tell him. And she's hardly said the word when the groom enters the room. Good morning, ladies. Hello, good morning, darling. And he hands her the flowers he's brought and kisses her and goes, why aren't you at the hairdresser's? Yeah, I'm off already. And Mum exits too, so Appiani is on his own when the courtier Marinelli enters. Good morning, Count. Good morning. Prince Ettore wants to send you away on a diplomatic mission. Does he now, all of a sudden? Well, that's fine for me. And you are to depart at once. At once is unfortunately not possible because my wedding is to take place today. Well, she's not running away, is she? Are you insulting Emilia? What, me? Are you insulting my Emilia, you skunk? So Marinelli darts off and Appiani is annoyed, but he's getting married in a minute, isn't he? The third act is set in the prince's summer residence. The prince is receiving an update from Marinelli. And then he rejected it and even abused me. Well, it was a stupid plan to begin with. Oh, come on. So what do we do now? Phew, no idea. Bang, a shot is heard. What was that? Oops. The prince runs to the window. Well, I do hope Count Appiani hasn't suffered an accident. The prince exits, and a villain comes in. Count dead? Yep, mission complete. Jolly good. And he hands him a $5, and the villain exits again, upon which Emilia is led in by a servant. She is quite flushed and agitated and goes, What's up here? Where's my mum? She'll be along in a minute. Do calm down, will you? The prince will look after you. What? Mummy! I said she'll be along, didn't I? Enter the prince and goes, Emilia, I do hope nothing has happened to you. Wah, get off me. I care for you, Emilia. Mummy, she'll be here any minute. Accompany me to a room next door. No, well, okay, so they go next doors. The mother rushes in. Emilia, where's my daughter? Next door. Wait a minute. You fought with Appiani in my house this morning, didn't you? No, that wasn't really fighting. And what's your name? Marinelli. Marinelli, what's his last word? You're the killer, killer, killer. Oh, shut up, that's so not true. And on that the curtain drops, but the fourth act is still set in the prince's summer residence. Again, the prince is being updated by Marinelli. Well, Count Appiani is dead and the old hag thinks it was you who ordered it. What? I didn't order that. That was your idea. Well, no, so you did order it. No. Yes. And a servant enters and goes, the Countess Orsina. And the prince can only shout after him, I'm not at home, when Orsina is already standing in the room. Like how not at home for your Orsi? And he replies, sorry, I am occupied, I am not alone, and exit. What's that supposed to mean, occupied? There's another woman in there, right? Oh. Who is it? Spit it out, man. Well, it's Emilia Galotti. You don't say. What a funny coincidence. Her fiancé just died and now the prince is consoling the bride, or what? Shit, how does everybody know about this? The prince is a killer, the prince is a killer. And she's about to leave when she very nearly collides with the in-rushing Odoardo Galotti. Oops, my fault, sorry. Where's my daughter and my wife? Next door. Well, go and get them. But Marinelli doesn't want to leave the two of them alone and says, okay, but don't talk to this woman, she's as nutty as squirrel poo. So he goes out and Odoardo is still very agitated and she approaches him. You poor man. How do you mean, poor man? Well, first your son-in-law dead and then your daughter. What about my daughter? Well, she made an arrangement with the prince in church this morning. Arrange what? Well, what could that have been? No, and I don't even have a pocket knife on myself. Oh, do take mine. And she hands him a dagger, which he hides for the time being when Claudia Galotti enters. Ah, Claudia. Odoardo, finally. Tell me, did the prince talk to Emilia in church this morning? Yes, but... Okay, that is sufficient information. Off you hop to the city, my two bonny lasses. Avanti. This is where the fifth act starts, which is still set in the prince's summer residence. The three men talk over what to do now with pretty Emilia. Mr. Galotti, what a pleasure. It has been far too long. Indeed, where's my daughter? Next door, we can get her any minute. Very well, I'll take her to a nunnery. What? No, don't take her to a nunnery. She's far too beautiful for that in apartment. Marinelli! Indeed, we need to keep her in custody because she still has to give testimony and must not talk to anyone else before. What testimony? Oh, on account of the murder of Appiani, we think it might have been a rival in love. You don't say. Well, yes, it might have been a rival, and, yeah, we'll put her under custody at the Grimaldis. What, in Monaco? No, Grimaldi is my chancellor. What? Yes, no, of course, you are the prince, and it's up to you to decide something like that, but I do protest. I don't want to talk to my daughter alone. Yes, of course you will talk to your daughter alone. And they send Emilia in to her father. Daddy, hello, Emilia. Why are you so calm? Would it help if I shouted? No, it jolly well won't, because you'll stay in the lion's den in the grip of your kidnapper. What? That's terrible. Yes, and they also want to take you into the house of this lewd chancellor. How absolutely terrifying. I'm far too inexperienced and virginal for this. I wouldn't know to do what if he were to seduce me. Can I have a dagger for a minute? Here you go. And she tries to kill herself, but he goes, wait a minute, nobody's committing suicide here. And instead, stab, he kills his daughter. And the last words she rattles out are, a rose broken before the storm deflowered it. And the prince storms in, Emilia! And thus this radical young woman and her choleric father set an example that is prone to being misunderstood, namely, better dead than potentially raped or at any rate dishonored. The bourgeoisie, always so very moral, by contrast to the stupid aristocrats. And this, dear congregation, was Emilia Galotti by Gotthold Ephraim Lessing. Vielen Dank.